failed attempts at parking in midair to sudden explosions in the most unexpected places. Today, unbelievable moments caught a second before disaster. You are watching the Eternity Lab channel, the laboratory of ever-relevant content. Eternity Lab. A parachute is not reliable transportation in terms of parking. Bring a knife or scissors. Some decisions are indeed bad. Before heading across a chasm while suspended from a carabiner, you should make sure the method is suitable. Even a steel cable can be worn down. Everything in the world deteriorates from friction. Hitting the target is good, but being too accurate might cause a backlash, and then the target hits the shooter.
Whoa! You alright?
Yeah, I'm good. It got your nose fucking good.
Damn, dude! Woo! Holy
These cops had an unfortunate shift on the highway. Karma caught up with them on level ground. Perhaps they had just given someone a ticket unjustly. Here comes the payback. Sometimes ordinary things form bizarre circumstances. To fly away on a tent airplane, you need the right moment. The right gust of wind, and then it will pick you up and carry you far away. Or maybe not so far. Yes, and you also need a camera rolling at exactly the right time. If you decide to make a spectacular ride in an off-road vehicle along the line of heavy surf, first consider the possibility of getting stuck in the sand and then getting caught by the wave. Not a gentle green wave, but a swirling one. An apartment with a view of the sea is wonderful, but sometimes the sea is so rough that it can deprive the owners of both their balcony and their peaceful sleep. If you like to complain loudly in a delivery office about a lost or delayed package, take a look at this. Circumstances and nature are stronger than we are, and sometimes the sea takes people's packages. Many people will not receive their marketplace orders. During a storm, several containers fell off the deck. The crane fastenings could not hold them. This is what they call technical reasons. And here is a fortunate turn of events at the airport when the tow tractor's tire blew out and flew off a moment before it reached the airliner. Otherwise, people might not have made it on vacation. As it is, just a short flight delay, not a cancellation. Feel the difference. A powerful jet engine on the beach stirred up a squall. People fell into the water. They were literally knocked over when the engine of a Boeing 747 went into afterburner in preparation for taxi. It is strange that the vacationers did not think of that. The airport is right on the shoreline, and there must be warning signs. The area is thoroughly fenced off, presumably because until bystanders each learn their lesson, they will not think about how an airplane actually works. By the way, it is important to note that no one was harmed in this incident. Only when we see that the aircraft is sideways across the runway do we realize the situation is out of the ordinary. More precisely, it is dramatic. The passengers face an emergency landing. Thank goodness everyone is fine, and the snowdrift acted like an airbag, softening the impact. One passenger on this flight turned out to be too impatient. To get off the plane, a 34-year-old man personally opened the emergency exit door while it was still about 250 meters above the ground. Naturally, he got off before everyone else, but into jail. That truck did not notice the steel web on a closed section of the highway under construction and ended up caught in a cable tension like a fly in a web. When it seems everything is going according to plan, in 1 second those plans can change. Who knew that simply unloading stone into a ditch would become everyone's problem with a broken trailer and a blocked road?
Keep your horn and see if he does anything.
No, that's past the truck's unloading. And it just tipped.
Lovely.
The guys who came up with this idea for piling things up are apparently trying theory in reality for the first time. Miracles do not happen. It is not enough to just stack up. You also have to land it properly. When the cargo is longer and heavier, it has a bigger chance of tipping over. Now the loader itself needs help. It needs to be put back on its feet. What word suits the result of this precise work? Plop. The recoil was immediate. Empty tanks have oddities. They can suddenly collapse like a cardboard box. It happens because of the difference in pressure inside and outside. The weather was not great, or perhaps the traffic light was tired of standing in one place and decided to fly. But since it had no wings, its dreams immediately shattered on the asphalt.
I'm sure it'll end up on somebody's MySpace page. About 10 minutes.
It seems this crew was given a double task: knock down the trees and demolish the camping cabins. They handled both in a single stroke. On this bright day, things turned much scarier when a container broke free from the clutches of a lifting crane. We are watching a classic physics experiment called the tipping point, where the load turned out to be heavier than the crane. When a huge port crane falls, the heavy containers look like a child's construction set. The main thing is to figure out in the remaining seconds which way to run. This crane could not cope with the strong wind pressure and crashed onto nearby structures. We see these moments when the terrible event has not happened yet, but nothing can be fixed anymore. If in front of your car, a wind turbine starts acting like this, know that it is improper behavior. What follows is what you will see now. Turn around as quickly as possible. Another incident with a wind turbine. These nightmares keep getting worse. They say this is what it means to be born under a lucky star. And it is a clean star too. As soon as this lucky owner of clean laundry left the laundromat, a powerful explosion occurred there. Frankly, I have never seen washing machines protest like that. This boiler, apparently, has reached the end of its service life. It is fortunate the worker's shift was over and no one was around at the time of the explosion. When observing something unusual, the main thing is to remember your own safety and leave in time, as these people did. There was a very serious explosion on the roof. They could have been seriously injured. At this factory, they simply produce large aluminum components. The apocalypse starts with one wrongly ignited spark and turns into a global nightmare. Let me clarify that all employees managed to evacuate safely from the rapidly growing fire. It seems the security camera also survived since we got to see this terrible show. Something told the video's author that the construction work at this site was not done very well, and the structure did not take long to cause problems. The proof is right in front of you. With one strike, you can knock down not only the entire row, but also disable the entire bowling alley. Soon this will be a swimming pool. A second ago, this girl definitely did not expect that. A silly mistake, and the falling pipe is rushing down to hit its offender. Everything that starts off exciting can end the opposite way. Until the last moment, the staff was certain that the demolition of the smokestack would go as planned. But ironically, the stack decided at the last minute to fall in a completely different direction. Here's a yacht worth millions of dollars. And here are those millions turning to debris in a matter of seconds.
No te puedo creer.
It is frustrating when, in the port, ships cannot share space. There is plenty of room on the sea, but upon leaving their berths, something occurred that will keep both vessels stuck here for a long time.
Peace.
When the ship's long deck starts rocking and bending in a storm, that is the time to send out a mayday, a distress signal that the vessel is in trouble. Take a look from shore. Clearly, there is reason to suspect the ship will sink soon.
It's the window. Got it off.
Sometimes you have to take a dip while fishing. Hopefully these guys were not going after sharks. A conveyor can break, and then the fish supply becomes a fish fall. Perhaps this is a way of showing that greed is bad and excessive fishing can deplete ocean resources. The conveyor fish pipeline seems to want us to choke on fish. This is not a scene from a horror movie. On that day, the roof of the house could not withstand the onslaught of storm winds and literally took off into the air. And here's a situation many kids have reenacted in a sandbox. The canopy collapses, and the toy trucks go flying. This elegant structure collapses as if it were assembled from matchsticks. The sight is mesmerizing with its slow but inevitable scenario. Have you ever seen a swimming pool collapse? Watch this. Just one cracked edge and a world of problems floods in, literally over your head. One shattered pane of glass is enough to cause the entire superstructure to collapse. We do not know why it failed, maybe an engineering error or defective material, but it certainly looks terrifying. Here is a fantastic scene. The stadium roof could not withstand the weight of the snow and dumped it all onto the open field. Good thing there were no players or staff members on it. It is horrifying to see how quickly a flood can turn an apartment into a swimming pool. And now all the furniture is whirling around in a frenzy, swept up by a powerful vortex. These Russian teenagers are clearly not architecture students, but the game Pull Out the Bottom Brick nearly cost them their lives. Do not try to repeat it. A column always collapses when the weight no longer has support. We can watch this water main break right from the first second. First, the asphalt bulges up like a bubble, and in an instant, you no longer recognize the street as water rapidly floods in. White moves first and wins. As soon as the white car leaves, a sinkhole opens in front of the driver of the black car, and the newly freed geyser of dirty water means all the residents will be postponing their trips for a long time. This incident, the rupture of a dam, looks quite dramatic considering the force with which that mass of water bursts free. A huge water container bursts, and from the gap comes a horizontal fountain. There is nothing to do but wait for the water level to drop below the hole. This is literally painful to watch. A wine container tore open during unloading at the port. The wine river flows into the sea. Such a shame that the result of an entire winemaking season will go unappreciated by anyone except for perhaps the newly tipsy coastal fish, which will have their fill. A short circuit can become a long one if it repeats, especially dangerous if there are trees close to the wires. Now we watch how, during a storm, short circuits pass along the line in a relay, and by the time it reaches the pole, it leaves the entire settlement without power.
Pretty intense.
A worker opened the street hatch to repair communications. Soon a woman appeared on the sidewalk, confidently approaching the open hatch door. You may wonder where she was looking. Did she not see that there was an obstacle ahead? First, she was staring at her phone non-stop, and second, as she later explained, she had health problems. She could not distinguish color shades, and for her eyes, the gray door completely blended with the asphalt. That is why it is especially important to fence off any potential hazards in pedestrian areas. These frightening shots come from Utah. There, due to soil movement, several houses collapsed at once. that neat greenery is now unrecognizable. A landslide of muddy slurry changed the terrain and caused havoc in just a few seconds. Recalling the famous saying about the mountain and Muhammad with this storyline, you might say, right now, you need to run away from the mountain as fast as you can, because no one knows which part of it decided to descend upon people. Film or run? That is the question. Keep in mind that acceleration makes the rockfall move faster than it appears. Hesitating for a second means your amazing footage will never be shown to anyone, so it is better to stop recording 1 second earlier than do it too late. Even every step on solid ground should be measured. Sometimes fortune places your foot on a disastrous spot. This guy will be famous on the slope as Mr. Trip You Up. I bet a dozen or so angry guys with bruises will be waiting for him at the exit to get their payback. A bad day for the truck driver. The yacht drifted off into who knows where, and his transport ended up ramming someone else's car. You just do not know what to grab for. You cannot catch a yacht by hand. It looks like these folks did not learn physics well at school, and the girls are not in great shape physically either. Their knowledge of literature must not be extensive, but the situation as a whole looks more laughably silly than sad. Somewhat like an adventure in the story, 3 Men in a Boat, to say nothing of the dog. A literal demonstration of the phrase, the cup of patience has overflowed. In that house, it seems they had endured for a long time. Here, everything overflowed at once. It is scary to imagine the plumber's bill. These people firmly believe in the immovability of the bridge's construction. Even though the raging water threatens their path, they carry on. Presumably, they are returning home and want to be there no matter what. Watching floods is truly terrifying when right before your eyes, the river swallows an iron bridge with stone supports and carries them away like toys. We obtained footage of how the Francis Scott Bridge in Baltimore collapsed in a matter of seconds after being hit by a large vessel. That is all for today. You have been watching the Eternity Lab channel, the laboratory of ever-relevant content. Subscribe and watch our previous episodes.